Rumour has it, there's a Fallout 3 remaster on the way. Fallout 3's capital Wasteland is easily one of the best settings in the entire Fallout franchise. From Rivet City to the Lincoln Memorial, Tenpenny Tower to Raven Rock, the capital Wasteland was full of iconic locations that have stood the test of time. It really is a massive testament to just how good Fallout 3 was that these locations are remembered so fondly. Around last year, rumours of a Fallout 3 remaster came via the Bethesda leaks. Many, including myself, were expecting that with the recent Xbox Games Showcase, we'd finally know more about the remaster. But that didn't happen. There's still a really big possibility that a Fallout 3 remaster is on the way, especially with the success of Amazon's recent TV show. So, if there ever was a Fallout 3 remaster, that got me thinking, where would be the places I'm most excited to revisit first? And that's exactly what this video is all about. Here are some of the very best Fallout 3 locations I'd love to see remastered. Upon first leaving Vault 101, the first settlement you'll encounter is Megaton. As post-war settlements go in Fallout, Megaton is arguably the most iconic. Built from the wreckage of crashed airliners, Megaton is one of the most architecturally interesting cities in the whole Fallout franchise. The main city gates are built from the remains of old airliner wings. There are numerous jet turbines seen throughout the town, and the supply shop is built from the fuselage of a plane's cockpit. Oh, and how can I not mention the literal unexploded nuclear bomb in the centre of town? While we're on the topic of the best towns in Fallout 3, Rivet City comes in a very close second to Megaton. What makes Rivet City unique in comparison to Megaton is that rather than being built from the rubble of the Great War, the founders of Rivet City instead repurposed a pre-war aircraft carrier. This essentially means the city was already built for them and all they needed to do was move in. It's the perfect post-war city, as long as you ignore the fact that the aircraft carrier was literally torn in half during the war. Rivet City has everything you need from a Fallout settlement. The market has all the shops you'll ever need, and there's even a scientific laboratory in the bowels of the ship with some important characters to the future of Fallout.
Vagaries and secrecy, a robot's a robot, Zimmer, no matter how shiny the paint job. Now, please.
Ignorance and facetiousness, that's all you people are good for. Shiny paint job indeed. You can't even imagine the Commonwealth's accomplishments.
Being a floating city, this means Rivet City is one of the safest locations in the capital Wasteland, requiring a bridge to be extended to even gain access to the city. Now that's security Megaton could only dream of. Unmarked locations are often some of the most interesting and downright strange locations in Fallout 3, and the Plunger Room of Death is no exception. Hidden behind a seemingly inconspicuous door under a very ordinary bridge is likely the most bizarre and bewildering location you'll find in Fallout 3. As you enter the door, you'll first notice things are a bit unusual here when you spot the intricately stacked items in the corridor. Not to mention the giant stone head as you venture further in. Honestly, this is nothing compared to what you'll find in the main chamber. I don't refer to this place as the Plunger Room of Death for no reason. Of all the unnerving things we can find in this room, perhaps the most bizarre are a series of plungers and bloody handprints that lead up the wall and onto the ceiling. If that wasn't bad enough, we also find a garden gnome impaled by needles through its eyes and ears, as well as, of course, many more plungers and blood splatters all around the room. There's no deeper story to this room. There's no explanation as to who created it, or why they created it, or what even happened here. It's just one of the many mysteries of Fallout 3, and it's definitely a location I'd love to see remastered. The capital Wasteland is dead. Compared to some other locations we've seen in more recent Fallout games, the barren hellscape of Fallout 3 really seems to be the worst case scenario for a post-apocalyptic America. It's for this very reason that the very first time I discovered Oasis, it blew my mind. The contrast between Oasis and the rest of the capital Wasteland is staggering. This sanctuary feels like the last remnants of nature still holding out in the capital Wasteland. The tree minders likely have the very best settlement in Fallout 3, and that's all thanks to Harold. I won't go into detail on the lore behind this location, but it's definitely worth visiting for yourself. There really is nowhere else like Oasis in the entire capital Wasteland. If you happen to come across a house that looks like it's been torn in half while exploring the capital Wasteland, make sure you head over and investigate, because you may have just found Fallout 3's most out of this world location. Back in 2007, when I first came across the alien crash site, it completely blew my mind. This game that I thought was all about the post-apocalyptic radioactive remains of America suddenly became something so much larger. As someone who had never played Fallout 1 or 2, I had no idea that aliens were as familiar to the Fallout series as radioactive mutants. And this is, of course, more than just an interesting location to visit, as this is actually the only place in the game where you can find the alien blaster and the very limited ammo available for it in the game. Getting your hands on this blaster early in the game will make you feel unstoppable, at least until you run out of ammo. This is genuinely my favourite location in Fallout 3. It alone sparked my interest in Fallout's wider lore, and I loved speculating about what was going on away from planet Earth in Fallout. Then, of course, they released the Mothership Zeta DLC, and that took things to a whole new level. So I'll leave this entry here for you to explore what happens next yourself. Much like the alien crash site, Gold Ribbon Grocers is a completely unmarked location in Fallout 3, which is a massive shame because I think every Fallout 3 player should visit this location at least once. Just spitting distance from Jury Street Metro Station, the Gold Ribbon Grocers is hiding a brilliant secret within its walls. You won't find any hostile wastelanders or gruesome scenes here. What you'll actually find is an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine that takes full advantage of Fallout 3's physics engine. The whole setup begins with a pressure plate that the player must stand on. This then activates a pendulum, which knocks down a series of cereal boxes on the counter. These boxes then domino and fall on another pressure plate, which activates a nearby pitching machine. The pitching machine then launches baseballs that knock over a fire extinguisher, which lands in a bear trap, causing an explosion. This explosion causes a chain reaction, detonating a nearby bunch of hand grenades, followed by igniting the gas that fills the room. If all of this goes well, it will result in a bunch of loot falling from the ceiling, including a few missiles and even a mini nuke. This really is one of the most unique locations in Fallout 3 and a brilliant test of the game's physics engine. It's not perfect though, and does tend to fail around 50% of the time, so perhaps a remaster could set that right. If you're looking for a slice of horror from Fallout 3, then look no further than the Dunwich Building. If you're familiar with some of the deeper lore of the Fallout series, you'll likely have come across the Dunwich mystery. Well, this is where it all began. In the far southwest corner of the capital Wasteland is a building inspired by the pages of H.P. Lovecraft. Entering this building is like taking a step out of Fallout 3 and instead entering a horror game. Inside, the Dunwich Building is completely infested with feral ghouls. And as you explore, you'll find countless rotting corpses still positioned in their final moments. As you progress deeper into the building, you'll begin to have ghostly visions of the past, and even find some unnerving recordings.
The raiders told spook stories about zombies in the ruins. Never saw anything like that where I come from. But Lord help me, they're real. Not quite what Thor said, but close. These things look... I think they really used to be people. God help me. I found Dad today. I didn't think it was him, but... the face. The zombies didn't touch him. I think he was becoming like them. Didn't know it was him until I found that old book near him. No more killing. I just need to go. Can't forget the book. All I have left of him. It's warm against the stone. I'll just rest a while. Sharp knife. Sharp knife to send him to Deep Temple. Flay and say my words. Abdul comes again on the feast of the weaker. Feast for the Deep Temple. Born again. Here. Al-Hazared. Yet.
I'm not going to go into too much detail and spoil what's going on here, but let's just say there's certainly something very strange going on in the caves below the Dunwich Building. Satcom Array NN03D may not be the most exciting location in Fallout 3. There are a number of towers just like this throughout the capital Wasteland, but this Satcom Array is hiding a secret that also has an interesting story to it. It's said that this location was among the very last places to be finished during Fallout 3's development. Because of that, time was limited. One developer happened to notice that they'd included a door that currently led to nowhere. Instead of simply removing the door, this developer decided to do the most Fallout thing you could imagine and left a little message for the lone wanderer. It's not smart, it's not clever, but it is one of my favourite dark jokes in Fallout 3. And not to leave you too disappointed, for visiting this spot you'll also be able to grab yourself some surprisingly well hidden missiles, so it's not a complete waste of time. As iconic locations in the capital Wasteland go, the mall is pretty close to the top spot. Deep in the heart of Washington, D.C., the mall is home to a number of landmarks, including the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, and the Capitol building itself. But don't for a second think you can just visit this location for a bit of light sightseeing. There's a war going on, and the mall is the front line. The super mutants have entrenched themselves in the park, creating literal trenches, bunkers, and occupying the Capitol building itself. The Brotherhood of Steel holds the Washington Monument. The Lincoln Memorial will also be home to a group of slavers, making this area a massive three-way firefight. This genuinely only scratches the surface of the mall. I haven't even mentioned the Museum of Technology or the Underworld, which are also brilliant locations to explore in their own right. So once you finally pay the mall a visit in the remaster, take your time to have a look around, because there's so much to enjoy and so much to discover. Honestly, this is only a small portion of the iconic locations found in Fallout 3, and I'd absolutely love to revisit them all in a potential Fallout 3 remaster.